Okay, I'm going to see if I can show y'all how I do the backgrounds on these cards and then add some of the black die cuts over the top to create a silhouette effect, or silhouette scene as I like to call them. And my favorite new thing to use, I used to do this using watercolor paper and thinned acrylic paint. But ever since I learned about these color burst powdered watercolor pigments, I have been hooked and I love them. So the blues I'm going to use are cerulean and ultramarine, and I've actually got them mixed. And then for my darker green, I'm going to use a little bit of the Terra Verte, and then I'm going to put a little more sap green in this. They're actually a dry pigment, and you'll notice some of these other colors that have dried on my palette, and then when they've dried like that, they're still, you can just, I just keep using them until I use them up. And then I add, these I had already added some more powder to, and then I just add drops of water at a time to reactivate them as I'm going to need them. Like, I'm not going to use any of this red, but if I was going to use it, I would just put a couple drops of red in it and reactivate it. Now, with that being said, I am going to try to do 2 of these backgrounds at one time. And I start by putting a little water. I just use a spray bottle to do it because it just makes it easier on the paper. And then I'm going to, that way I like to start with a little bit of a wet background. And yes, this does get all over your hands. I still had green and blue paint on me last night. But it's fine because it washes off. But I was still playing till kind of late. So there's the blue. And I don't worry if I don't get it like completely solidly done. Then I'm going to take the lighter of the 2 greens, and I'm actually going to let it run right up over the edge of that blue, changing what I like to refer to as the flavor somewhat. And put a little bit on this one. I usually work on these 1 at a time, so I'm trying to do 2. I'm trying to hurry before my areas kind of dry too much on me. All right, and this is going to be the darker green, and I'm going to bring it in from the bottom up. Well, there's some kind of fuzz on that. Let's see if we can get a little more of that. And do the same thing with this one. If I was doing these 1 at a time, I'd actually have them laying flat on the table to get them like I want them done. Okay, now, the next thing I have to do is get my little mister bottle, and I'm going to ever so lightly spritz. I especially like to do this in what I call my sky part. But if some gets in the bottom area of it, that's fine too. Once I get it to that point, then I dry it. So I'll dry it and then I'll come back